Gloucester is one city, but I'm not so sure it feels like just one city. Let's begin with downtown Gloucester. You have the working harbor, you have the shops and restaurants, and all that activity that takes place around the waterfront. Then let's head over towards East Gloucester, and you're near the beaches. Keep going, and you've come to Rocky Neck with its galleries, boats, long history as an artiste colony, and as you make your way through Gloucester, you find places like Annisquam, Lanesville, Magnolia, and West Gloucester, and each one feels a little bit different from the last. And somehow, it's all Gloucester. That's what makes this city so interesting. I'm Kathleen Militello with eXp Realty and North Shore Smart Moves. And today I want to take you all around Gloucester, not just to the places everyone recognizes, but through the different sections that make up this city. And the harbor is probably the best place for us to begin. Fishing isn't just part of Gloucester's history. Commercial fishing is still happening here today. Boats come in and they go out. Docks are working, businesses depend upon the water, and the harbor has an energy that changes depending on what's happening on that day. You don't have to go very far to reach downtown. Main Street gives you restaurants, shops, galleries, and historic buildings, with the waterfront just a short walk away. So this part of Gloucester can feel a little compact. But get in the car and things start spreading out. Head towards East Gloucester and you'll find one of the views that has probably sold more people on Gloucester than almost anything else. Good Harbor Beach. The wide stretch of sand, the Atlantic Ocean in front of you, and Salt Island offshore make this one of Gloucester's most recognizable places. But here's something worth knowing. East Gloucester isn't simply the area near Good Harbor Beach. There are residential streets, older homes, water views, and roads that twist around this part of the city in ways you don't necessarily appreciate until you start driving them. And not far away is Rocky Neck. This is where another piece of Gloucester's personality comes through. Rocky Neck has been associated with artists for generations. And today, you'll still find galleries, studios, boats, and old buildings gathered along the harbor. It's a small area, but it tells you something important about Gloucester. Fishing and art have existed side by side here for a very long time. Now we're going to have to leave this part of the city because Gloucester is about to change. Let's go to Annisquam. Annisquam is a historic village along the Annisquam River, and the approach alone starts giving you a different feel. The roads narrow, the houses change, the pace of life feels different. There is a village character here that has very little in common with downtown Gloucester or the activities around the main harbor. Now, this is where looking at a map can be deceiving. Everything says Gloucester, Massachusetts in the address, but where you are within Gloucester makes a huge difference. Continue around Cape Ann and you'll reach Lanesville. This is where Gloucester's granite history becomes part of the landscape. Lanesville was closely connected to the quarrying industry, and you can still see traces of the past throughout this area. You'll also notice the terrain, more exposed rocks, woods, old stone, narrow roads, a rugged coastline. It's very different from the Cape Ann you experience when you're putting your chair in the sand down at Good Harbor Beach. And then there's Magnolia. Magnolia is down towards the Manchester by the Sea side of Gloucester and has its own small village center and residential areas. If you drove from Lanesville to Magnolia without knowing Gloucester particularly well, you might be surprised that both places have the same city on the mailing address. And there's still another part we haven't explored, West Gloucester. West Gloucester pulls you away from much of the activity along the outer coast. There are wooded areas, roads near the Annisquam River, more spread out residential settings, and locations that are convenient to Route 128. And this is where Gloucester starts making more sense if you're thinking about actually living here. Instead of asking, do I like Gloucester? I'd ask a much more specific question. What part of Gloucester works with the way I spend my day? Maybe being able to get to 128 easily matters to you. Maybe you want to be closer to downtown. Maybe the beach is the reason you're considering Gloucester in the first place. Or maybe you'd trade proximity to the harbor for a quieter, more wooded setting. Those aren't small differences. They can completely change your experience of living here. And we can't talk about Gloucester without going back to the water one more time. Winter Chic Beach. Good Harbor Beach, it faces the open Atlantic Ocean. Winter Chic sits along the Annisquam River and Ipswich Bay. And when the tide goes out at Winter Chic, the landscape seems to expand in front of you with shallow waters, rocks, and broad stretches of sand. Two famous Gloucester beaches, two completely different experiences, which is actually a pretty good description of Gloucester itself. This city doesn't reveal itself all at once. You understand it in pieces. The harbor tells you one story. Rocky Neck tells you another. Annisquam has its own. So does Lanesville, Magnolia, West Gloucester, and East Gloucester. And that's why, if you're thinking seriously about moving here, take some time to explore the different areas and see which one feels like the best fit for you. Drive the route you'd actually be taking to work. Think about where you'll shop, where you'll go out to eat, and the places you'll be going every day. Because when you're choosing a home, you're also choosing the part of Gloucester you'll be living in. And if you're considering something near the coast, understand the property itself, its exposure, flood information, insurance considerations, and what maintaining a coastal home may involve. Those details aren't nearly as exciting as an ocean view, but they are part of living here too. And if you want to learn even more about Gloucester, I've put together a complete Gloucester guide on my website with more about the different sections of the city, the beaches, things to do, getting around, and living here. I'll leave the link below. Check it out. Gloucester has been shaped by the ocean, fishing, granite, art, and generations of people building lives around Cape Ann. And somehow, all of those pieces have created a city where moving just a few miles can give you an entirely different way of life. That's the Gloucester I find very interesting. So if you know Gloucester, I want to hear from you too. Which section has your heart? East Gloucester, Annisquam, Lanesville, Magnolia, West Gloucester, downtown? Or is it somewhere I haven't mentioned? Put it in the comments and tell me all about your story. And if you're enjoying these North Shore town tours, give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more communities we're going to explore together. And if you're considering moving to Gloucester and you're trying to understand the differences between these areas, I am more than happy to help you sort through them. I'm Kathleen Militella with eXp Realty and North Shore Smart Moves. Thanks for coming around Gloucester with me. I look forward to exploring more of the North Shore with you on our next tour. And I'll see you on the next one.